Did you know there's hidden treasures lurking everywhere around us, waiting to be discovered? Well, we've gathered the most mind-blowing findings on Earth that will forever change what you believe is possible in our mysterious world. Deep in Kazakhstan, these hikers stumbled upon something truly extraordinary. The legendary Baikonur Cosmodrome with the massive Energia rocket still inside. This Soviet super heavy rocket, standing at an impressive 59 meters tall, was once one of the most powerful launch vehicles in the world, outperforming other operational rockets of its time. Inside the massive hangar with its gigantic door, designed to fit an entire rocket, you can also glimpse the famous Buran space shuttle, which completed just one unmanned orbital flight before being forever stored away in this slowly decaying technological time capsule. Imagine walking along a quiet shoreline only to discover an enormous abandoned cruise ship looming just meters from the beach. The enchanted Capri, a massive 157-meter hotel ship with 248 rooms that once accommodated 937 passengers and 155 crew members, now sits abandoned after dragging its anchor during a violent storm near Alvarado. What makes this ghost ship truly fascinating is that, despite plans to scrap it in 2020, the ship remains eerily intact with furniture, spare parts, and even lifeboats still aboard. While its once pristine deck slowly surrenders to the relentless forces of nature. Wandering through an empty field in the pitch-black night, this guy suddenly faced a colossal mining excavator looming in the darkness. This abandoned industrial beast measures up to 30 meters high and 120 meters long, with its enormous frame weighing an incredible 1,980 tons. Despite years of abandonment and extensive rust damage, the giant machine still contains most of its original switches, control elements, and mechanical parts, creating an apocalyptic scene that looks like it's straight out of a movie set. In Maryland's woods, these guys found an extraordinary time capsule. Sylvester Stallone's childhood home, abandoned but filled with remnants of the famous actor's early life. Outside this 4-bedroom house where the Rocky star lived during the 1950s, visitors can find a collection of classic automobiles rusting on the property, including a Mercedes-Benz 250, 170V, S-Class, Chevrolet Corvettes, a Stingray, a C3 convertible, a Camaro, and even an SS kit car replacing the 1929 Mercedes SSK with sly license plates. Vehicles that would be museum-worthy if not left to slowly decay in this forgotten woodland sanctuary. Beneath the Red Sea's waters, divers discovered a monument to wartime. The perfectly preserved SS Thistlegorm, a British cargo steamship sunk by German bombers in 1941. The 126-meter vessel serves as an underwater museum where divers can explore holds still packed with extraordinary military supplies, including bed-foot trucks, armored carriers, motorcycles, guns, ammunition, and even 2 massive steam locomotives destined for Egyptian railways. The ship's final journey began in Glasgow in June, but after being forced to anchor due to a Suez Canal collision, the vessel met its fate on October 6th, creating one of history's most significant accessible shipwrecks. Imagine walking through a forest only to discover something straight out of The Truman Show. Like a massive 25-meter wall hidden among trees, printed with forest imagery to camouflage its existence. This enormous canvas barrier with detailed forest printing was designed to conceal whatever lies beyond from curious hikers. But what's even more interesting is the mystery behind it. It could be a military facility, a politician's hideout, or some other hidden secret that even the locals refuse to talk about. On the Pacific-facing coast of Hokkaido, there is a concrete military bunker that appears to be floating in mid-air. This former Japanese Army pillbox, built during the final days of World War II as a defense against the American invasion, measures approximately 5 meters wide and 6 meters deep. As coastal erosion gradually washed away the surrounding soil, this massive structure was left dramatically exposed on the cliff edge, creating the surreal illusion that it was suspended above the ground. Deep beneath the waters of Papua New Guinea lies a mysterious submarine that kept its secrets for over a century. The HMAS AE-1, Australia's first submarine and the Allied submarine loss of World War I, was finally discovered in 2017 after vanishing without a trace in 1914. Remarkably, the wreck was mapped in stunning detail using high-tech ROVs, revealing clues about its final moments and allowing researchers to create an intricate 3D model of this historical time capsule. In the depths of a frozen swamp, an official search team made a remarkable wartime discovery that has been preserved for decades. The wooden crates they recovered contained thousands of perfectly sealed World War II ammunition rounds, untouched by time beneath the ice. This historical find, while impressive, required careful handling by the team, who follow strict protocols ensuring potentially dangerous materials remain in the forest or are properly deactivated before being transferred to museums. In the crystal-clear waters off Croatia's coast was found a haunting reminder of World War II's final days. A mighty B-17 Flying Fortress bomber rests perfectly preserved 72 meters below the surface, forced to make a dramatic water landing when its last engine failed just short of safety. The most intriguing part of this underwater time capsule is that the crew managed to survive the landing, floating for 20 minutes before the massive aircraft finally slipped beneath the waves. Beneath layers of earth, a team of metal detectorists uncovered an ancient storage chamber sealed with an intricately patterned clay lid. Hidden inside this mysterious vault lay a spectacular collection of gold and silver jewelry alongside ancient coins, carefully preserved through the centuries. The elaborate nature of the hiding place and the valuable contents suggest this wasn't a simple storage site, but rather a deliberate concealed treasure trove meant to protect precious wealth during turbulent times. Somewhere in the depths of Washington State's forests, a dusty old barn holds an automotive treasure trove that would make any car collector's heart race. Inside this unassuming structure lies a stunning collection of classic American muscle cars from the 1960s and 70s, including rare Plymouth GTXs, Pontiac GTOs, and pristine Dodge Challengers. What makes this barn find truly exceptional is that many of these vehicles are limited editions with powerful V8 engines, making this forgotten collection potentially worth millions to the right buyers. After a proper restoration, of course. Off the Swedish coast, divers made an interesting discovery that's been perfectly preserved by the cold Baltic waters. A 19th century shipwreck yielded not only 100 bottles of vintage champagne, but also rare clay bottles of Selters mineral water, a beverage so precious it was once considered medicine and served at royal tables. The fact that the mineral water's producer, identified by marks on the clay bottles dating between 1850 to 1867, still operates today, creating a direct link to this luxurious cargo from the past. Right within ancient rock faces lies an extraordinary discovery that challenges our understanding of prehistoric human ingenuity. This remarkable 16,000-year-old dwelling, carved directly into solid rock, features multiple rooms and a dedicated fireplace area, all meticulously crafted using primitive tools. What's truly fascinating is how this ancient shelter has survived millennia, providing a rare glimpse into the sophisticated architectural capabilities of our distant ancestors. After 30 years of fossil hunting, this explorer struck gold with what he calls the best Megalodon tooth site ever discovered. The untouched location yielded an incredible haul of 17 complete Megalodon teeth in just 1 week, with some specimens barely requiring any digging to uncover. The abundance of historical bones scattered throughout the site serves as a telltale sign of these ancient marine predators, making this untouched territory a fossil hunter's dream come true. In the flooded Konstantinovsky coal quarry, these hikers found massive excavators slowly disappearing into rising groundwater that has reclaimed this once productive mining site. These colossal machines, including a 16-bucket rotary excavator weighing 4,100 tons and standing over 30 meters tall, once extracted more than 1 million tons of coal annually until operations ceased in 2010. The tragic fate of these industrial giants, now stripped of valuable copper and standing like skeletons above deep quarry waters, tells a larger story of changing political regimes and bankruptcy that transformed this engineering marvel into a mechanical graveyard. Deep in a silent forest lies a small, abandoned chapel, discovered by a hiker during his nighttime woodland journey. This remarkable religious structure, built in the late 12th century, served as a place of worship for more than 600 years before being reclaimed by the surrounding wilderness. Since then, time has stripped away most of its original features, creating the unsettling feeling of someone watching you from the empty shadows. Along the Delaware River rests a haunting collection of abandoned vessels, a boat graveyard with loads of maritime history. And the most impressive among these nautical ghosts is the U.S. lightship Barnegat, a 129-foot floating lighthouse built in 1904 at Camden's New York shipyard and used by the United States Coast Guard to guide ships away from dangerous shallow waters. This century-old vessel, now listed among the 10 most endangered historical places, served a second life during World War II, patrolling coastlines teeming with German submarines before being retired in 1967, one of the few surviving ships of its kind. Venture into what explorers thought would be just another cave system, only to discover the largest underground chamber ever discovered. The cavern's coastal scale is truly shocking. Smooth rock walls with ceiling heights reaching over 30 meters. It's so large that even 2 of the world's brightest flashlights couldn't fully illuminate it, and the bottoms of underwater pools disappeared into darkness. Moreover, the chamber's perfect acoustics create huge echoes, making this underground wonder feel like an entirely different world beneath our feet. In the forests of Chernobyl, hikers discovered a truly chilling sight. Thousands of abandoned gas masks scattered across the ground. These eerie remnants were likely disposed of after the catastrophic nuclear disaster, becoming heavily contaminated with radiation during the cleanup operations. Although radiation levels have decreased over the decades, these masks remain silent witnesses to one of history's worst nuclear accidents. Now, dive kilometers beneath the Swiss mountains to discover a truly bizarre sight. Dozens of classic Volkswagen Beetles and Golfs entombed in an abandoned mine closed for over 40 years. These dusty, rusty, partially stripped vehicles were transported through the tunnels by a museum owner who cleverly used the mine's spacious chambers as free storage for his overflow collection of 200 vintage automobiles. Most fascinating of all, the mine's owner painted the ceilings blue to keep bugs away. but then seemingly abandoned these automotive treasures to time itself, with some vehicles now so deeply hidden within the tunnels that visitors continue to discover more cars with each visit. We have more amazing discoveries coming up in just a moment, but if you want to see even more, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss new videos. In Japan's countryside are automotive treasures that break enthusiasts' hearts worldwide. The legendary Japanese vehicles, including rare Skylines and Supras, sit neglected due to strict ownership laws preventing salvage or rescue. Despite containing parts worth fortunes to collectors globally, these engineering masterpieces face a grim future at the crusher rather than restoration. Beyond crumbling Italian walls next, finders discovered an architectural marvel forgotten by time, a 13th century church. Despite centuries of neglect, ornate wall details and intricate facades remain remarkably intact. But the sanctuary's most surprising resident is a broken carriage from the same era, abandoned within these sacred walls like a museum display without visitors. A kayaker's routine paddle turned extraordinary upon discovering a decommissioned military submarine with a bizarre afterlife. This advanced underwater vessel, retired in the 2000s after classified service, contained technological secrets never revealed to the public. But the strangest thing is that the government listed it on eBay until suspicious buyers claiming tourist vessel intentions raised the alarm about the possible misuse. The listing's removal prevented this machine's mysterious second career, leaving it to rust while still guarding its classified capabilities. Next, explorers venturing into an abandoned slate mine encountered a surreal staircase descending into crystalline depths that seem to defy reality. But the most chilling part is a submerged ladder disappearing into darkness, its bottom rungs vanishing into the void, tempting adventurers to imagine what lies beneath. Hidden away in an abandoned missile silo lies a bizarre discovery that would have once been worth a fortune. Historians exploring old Soviet military installations stumbled upon billions of Soviet-era rubles stuffed into an underground chamber. While these banknotes are now worthless as currency, they create an eerie monument to the collapse of an empire, likely disposed of in the early 1990s when they became obsolete. In the middle of Death Valley, botanists searching for rare plants stumbled upon a long-lost piece of Cold War history. The discovered wreckage was identified as a Grumman HU-16 Albatross, a CIA aircraft that crashed in January 1952 during a classified mission from Idaho to San Diego. What makes this find particularly interesting is that while all 6 crew members miraculously survived by parachuting to safety, the aircraft's remains lay hidden in the Panamint Mountains for over 68 years before being rediscovered. Hidden beneath hours of overgrown wilderness and an abandoned airfield, these people found a forgotten graveyard of Soviet-era aircraft. The site contains the stripped remnants of various aircraft, including AN-2s, Mi-2 helicopters, Yak-52s, and Yak-18As. Their bare frames telling silent stories of their flying days. Now this discovery has been slowly reclaimed by nature, with vegetation growing through and around these abandoned flying machines. In the harsh Alaskan wilderness found a monument to failed ambition, the legendary Last Train to Nowhere. This abandoned railroad equipment, including 3 locomotives and 19 cars, has been slowly rusting since 1913 when a devastating storm destroyed the Solomon River Bridge, permanently stranding them 40 kilometers outside Nome. These trains never made a single journey on their intended 215-kilometer route from Dixon to the County City mines, as the railroad company went bankrupt in 1907. leaving them frozen in time as silent sentinels of Alaska's gold rush era. In the middle of Ukraine's Kharkiv region lies a surreal sight, dozens of abandoned aircraft scattered across an empty field. This forgotten airfield, once a bustling training facility, now holds over 30 aircraft including L-29 jet trainers, Mi-2 and Mi-8 helicopters, and AN-2 planes, many still containing fuel in their tanks from when they were abandoned in the 1990s. Time and scavengers have taken their toll on these once proud machines, but they remain as bygone eras of aviation training. How about encountering a whole passenger aircraft not in the sky, but deep beneath the waves of the Red Sea? This eerie Lockheed Martin L-1011 Tristar, with its distinctive 3 engines mounted on wings and tail fin, was deliberately sunk in 2019 to create an artificial reef at depths ranging from 15 to 28 meters. Once serving airlines like Royal Jordanian in the 1980s before being abandoned at the King Hussein International Airport, this underwater giant has now become a haven for wreck explorers and a thriving ecosystem for marine life. In the murky depths of the English Channel, it has become possible to retrieve the wreck of MV Tricolor, a massive 50,000-ton Norwegian vehicle carrier that sank with nearly 3,000 automobiles on board after a collision in 2002. This ill-fated vessel, which became notorious for being involved in 3 separate collisions within just 2 weeks, now rests on its side in 30 meters of water off the French coast. Salvage teams face the extraordinary challenge of recovering thousands of vehicles from this underwater car cemetery, making this one of the most unusual and complex maritime recoveries in European waters. Within an American forest, this man found a graveyard of forgotten military might, a collection of M60 Patton tanks that once served as the workhorse of the U.S. Army for 2 decades. These 750 horsepower behemoths, capable of reaching speeds of 48 kilometers per hour on roads with a range of 480 kilometers, are now perfectly lined up in their final resting place. Alongside them rest 14 stripped M113 armored personnel carriers that once transported up to 15 passengers each at speeds of 68 kilometers per hour, creating an eerie military museum slowly being reclaimed by nature. At the ancient site of Baalbek in Lebanon, a marvel was discovered that challenges our understanding of human history. Enormous megalithic stones weighing up to 1,200 tons each. Despite being misattributed to Romans, the precision-cut limestone blocks show evidence of sophisticated tool marks and construction techniques far beyond the capabilities of ancient civilizations. The quarry still contains what might be the largest stone block ever cut in human history, leaving experts to theorize about a lost ancient civilization with high technology that predates the Romans, Greeks, and Egyptians by thousands of years. While building a highway through Chile's Atacama Desert, workers made an astonishing discovery. More than 40 complete whale skeletons preserved in what is now one of the driest places on Earth. Among these massive fossils, paleontologists identified blue whales, finback whales, and even an extinct dolphin-like creature with walrus characteristics, all perfectly preserved in the desert sand. Scientists determined these marine giants died after consuming toxic algae. Their bodies later washed ashore by a powerful storm before the region transformed from seafloor to desert over millions of years. Discovered in the granite outcroppings near South Africa, this perfectly preserved, footprint-shaped formation measures an incredible 1.2 meters from heel to toe. This vertical impression in solid granite has sparked fantastic theories that a giant standing 7 to 7.5 meters tall once walked through molten rock some 200 million years ago. Although geologists identify this as a natural weathering formation surrounded by similar erosion patterns, could this actually be evidence of ancient giants? Or is it simply nature's artwork? Tell us what you think in the comments below. In the forests near British Columbia, hikers found not mushrooms, but a remarkable piece of aviation history. A World War II Canso aircraft perched on the side of Radar Hill. This Catalina flying boat, one of the most widely used seaplanes during the war, made an emergency landing and now rests partially intact. And you can go see it, if you're up for a treacherous hike through knee-deep mud. What makes this site particularly interesting are the small ponds surrounding the wreckage, which weren't formed naturally, but were created when explosives were detonated after the plane crashed. Imagine the shock of Vietnamese gardeners who, while simply tending to their vegetables, struck something metallic buried deep beneath their property. What they initially hoped might be buried treasure turned out to be a massive unexploded bomb weighing over 1 ton and measuring 2.5 meters in length, buried just 2 meters below their home. Military specialists were immediately called to evacuate the enormous piece of ammunition, leaving the family unharmed despite living right above the war relic for decades without knowing it. In Egypt's vast Al-Wadi Al-Jadid desert, an oil survey team stumbled upon an incredibly preserved World War II Curtiss Kitty Hawk fighter plane, untouched by anything but sand and sun since 1942. The aircraft, identified as Kitty Hawk MKIA ET-574 from 260 Squadron RAF, disappeared during a ferry flight with Flight Sergeant Dennis Copping at the controls, who was last seen flying off course with damaged landing gear. What makes this find special is that the plane had been perfectly preserved in the desert for decades, remaining a memorial to a fallen pilot who was never seen again. During a mushroom hunting expedition in a Moscow suburb, a man made the surreal discovery of a submarine sitting in the middle of a swamp. While appearing completely authentic at first glance, this smaller-scale vessel turned out to be an elaborate marketing installation created by a construction company to attract investors to a new housing development, which, by the way, completely succeeded. In the crystal-clear waters off Cozumel was a fascinating piece of military history, the Philippe Chocolatl C-53, a former World War II U.S. Navy minesweeper that later served in the Mexican Navy. After a distinguished 37-year career protecting the Gulf of Mexico and Caribbean Sea, this 60-meter vessel was purposefully sunk in 2000 to create an artificial reef and diving attraction. Today, this majestic wreck rests 25 meters below the surface. Its hull is now patrolled by schools of tropical fish instead of sailors. On the black sands of southern Iceland lies an otherworldly sight, the ghostly wreckage of a Douglas Super DC-3, its twisted metal frame against the volcanic landscape. This American military aircraft, a symbol of aviation's golden age, made its final landing on November 21, 1973, miraculously leaving all 7 crew members unharmed. Most remarkably, this perfectly preserved time capsule now serves as a mysterious monument, drawing photographers from around the world to create its eerie beauty against Iceland's dramatic landscape. In December 1980, Suffolk's Rendlesham Forest became the site of Britain's most famous UFO incident when military personnel reported seeing strange lights and a triangular craft bearing mysterious hieroglyphics. The event, witnessed by high-ranking officials, involved multiple sightings of unexplained lights reportedly beaming rays towards the ground near the Woodbridge RAF base. While scientists later attributed the lights to bright stars, the incident's legacy lives on through a commemorative sculpture installed in the forest, marking this mysterious encounter that has captivated UFO enthusiasts for decades. On the shores of the Piolavsky Reservoir was a haunting remnant of the Cold War, the conning tower of the legendary K-19, the Soviet Union's first nuclear ballistic missile submarine. This ill-fated vessel, nicknamed Hiroshima, after surviving 3 major accidents, including a near-catastrophic nuclear disaster in 1961, now serves as a powerful memorial created by Vladimir Romanov, a former crew member who witnessed history unfold. Most remarkably, this submarine's final resting place honors the 32 brave sailors who received radiation doses while preventing a nuclear catastrophe that could have triggered World War III. In a remote field in Kazakhstan, explorers unearthed a time capsule, a perfectly preserved Moskvich 412 car from the 1980s, buried completely intact beneath the earth. This Soviet-era vehicle, though stripped of its paint by time, emerged from its earthen garage with its original parts still intact and, incredibly, its tires still capable of holding air. And while the interior has succumbed to decay, the car proved resilient enough to be successfully recovered from its unusual underground parking spot. These divers found in the Red Sea the legendary SS Thistlegorm, a World War II British freighter that has become the world's most famous underwater museum. This massive 125-meter wartime vessel, sunk by German bombers in 1941, holds an extraordinary cargo including vintage BSA motorcycles, still arranged in neat rows as if waiting for their riders. Most remarkably, after 80 years underwater, these machines remain incredibly well preserved, their tires and windows intact, creating an eerie time capsule of wartime history beneath the waves. On a remote polar island in the Barents Sea, explorers discovered an extraordinary time capsule, an abandoned military site with a lineup of Soviet-era vehicles, including ZIL trucks, UAZ, and Zaporozhets cars, preserved by the Arctic climate. What made this discovery truly remarkable was finding a fully stocked bunker nearby, containing enough preserved supplies to sustain someone for months. This site, revealed to be a former S-75 surface-to-air missile battery command post active until the mid-1990s, was likely abandoned with its vehicles and supplies intact due to the prohibitive costs of evacuation from such a remote location. After 64 years underwater, a legendary T-34-76 tank was finally rescued from its watery grave, where it had sunk through ice during the intense battles of 1944. The tank, discovered standing almost vertically with its turret pointing towards the shore and covered in thick silt and aquatic plants, required months of careful legal work and technical preparation before it could be retrieved. Local residents' accounts helped confirm the tank's history. It had accidentally ventured onto frozen water while engaging German forces attempting to break through the Korsun-Skevchenovsky pocket, and previous attempts to recover it during wartime had failed. In the remote Arctic waters near Tiksi, Brezhnev Island harbors were a collection of abandoned vessels trapped in the perpetual ice of Borkaya Bay. Among the frozen hulks lie not only numerous ships, but also the remnants of 2 aircraft crashes, one believed to be a Lee aircraft with square windows and the other resembling an AN-2. Most intriguing, some believe this maritime graveyard may contain the remnants of the legendary yacht Zarya, though the perpetual ice that covers the bay for most of the year makes verification challenging. On a quiet Japanese beach in Hamamatsu, a mysterious iron sphere appeared that left both locals and authorities completely baffled. This perfectly round metallic object, complete with 2 puzzling handles, sparked theories ranging from spy devices to dragon eggs, prompting bomb squads to conduct extensive X-ray analysis. While experts now believe it might be a simple mooring buoy, its sudden appearance and unknown origin have transformed this mundane object into an international mystery that captivated global media attention. This explorer, found in a dense forest, stands as a remarkable piece of railway history. Locomotive 50.370, a forgotten giant of the Romanian state railway built in 1928. This impressive machine, a Romanian copy of the Prussian G10 freight locomotive, made its final journey to Falkenberg, Germany, where it now rests surrounded by mismatched tenders from German Reichsbahn Class 50 engines. This steel giant still maintains its original tender, a rare complete example of interwar European railway engineering frozen in time. In a bay of the Solomon Islands lies the MS World Discoverer, a unique cruise ship whose final voyage ended dramatically on April 30th, 2000. This 7-deck vessel, built in 1975 with ice-breaking capabilities for polar expeditions, met its fate when it struck an uncharted reef near Honiara. While Captain Oliver Kress heroically saved all passengers, his attempt to preserve the ship led to its current resting place in Roderick Bay, where it lies at a haunting 45-degree angle just 20 meters from shore, slowly surrendering to the Pacific's tides. In the middle of the Vietnamese wilderness, rescuers determined a TMT truck that nature had slowly begun to reclaim. Despite years of exposure to the elements and thick undergrowth surrounding it, the vehicle remained surprisingly salvageable. Most remarkably, examination revealed that with proper restoration, this forgotten piece of machinery could return on the road, showing the impressive durability of these utility trucks. And that's it for today. Don't forget to leave a comment and tell us which find impressed you the most. And don't forget to press the like and subscribe buttons. See you in the next videos. Bye!